Alright, so we got Brett turn 2. My Pegasus Knights rally. I take my bowmen and I think I'm going to be real clever. I'm using them so the chariots cannot charge my Pegasus Knights, and if they charge me, I'm going to flee, and hopefully they'll catch me, which really they should, and if they do, they're going to hit the woods and do d6 impact hits on each of the chariots. So that's actually kind of hoping he charges and destroys my bowmen if I can do that kind of damage to all those chariots in there. I didn't talk about it, but my hero charged the Casket of Souls. You can see during his turn he killed a couple of the Grail Knights. I took my BSB, my general, out of that unit and charged the bowman, because as it was, had I charged the bowman with everything, I would have beaten him, overran, and then just would have been in a real weird position of that house, set up for a counter charge in the flank or rear by those big block of skeletons. So what I thought I'd do, take the BSB and the general out. They're going to kill several of those skellies, and they have to come really from the other end because of where my guys are. So that's going to open up space for my Grail Knights to take care of that big block of skeletons. And then I don't see those skeletons being able to hurt me, and so we're just going to act as a shield against the other skeletons and the Tomb Guard on the other side until I kill that whole unit. So that was the thinking there. I'd never done something like that before. I thought I'd try it. Right, so this is where things really went south on this side of the board. The Grail Relicue was supposed to charge. I declared a charge from it to the Carrion, and I failed my fear test. Had they made the fear test, the Carrion would have lined up against them. That would have freed up the Knights of the Realm to charge the big dudes there, the Ushtapti, or whatever. They're big dudes from now on. And I think that would have worked out fairly well. But when the Grail thingy failed its fear test, then I just declared a charge from Knights of the Realm into the Carrion, and they failed their fear test. And here, that's going to happen sometimes. The huge mistake I made was I just, in desperation, charged my small unit of Knights Errant into the big dudes trying to do something, which was stupid, because even if you look at the math, there's no way you're going to win that, and you're probably going to get destroyed. And if you don't get completely destroyed, it's even worse, because then he'll probably break you, and then he will be into the flank zone of the Knights of the Realm instead of their front. And what would have been better, instead of declaring a charge, would have been to act as a, kind of like you do with Fast Cav. Now granted, I would have had to take a impetuosity test, so it may not have mattered, but that's what I should have tried. But I didn't. So that's what that side of the board looks like. You can see, I think I already said his archers killed one of my Knights Errant. So I didn't do any wounds on his Lich Priest in a challenge. He didn't do any on me. I outnumbered, so I won combat by 1, and he allocated the wound to one of the guards. My two characters beat up on those skeletons, and I treated them like a unit, and in hindsight I shouldn't have. They should be, to maximize contact, I should have spread them out a little bit. But whatever. I mean, I killed a bunch, and I think that's going according to plan. This did not go according to plan. My Knights Errant charged in there, did a wound. They easily beat me in combat, and now they're set up for a beautiful charge with the flank of my Knights of the Realm. That's a big screw up. This kind of surprised me, and this is what happened was kind of weird. So he declares a charge with his prince only into my bowman, and that still would have taken him into the woods, except that he couldn't pivot on the spot, and so he had to move forward 4 or 5 inches out of the unit, and then pivot, and then when he moved towards my bowman, the angle was different, and so he didn't go into the woods. So I don't know the right way to play that. This is a very friendly game. We were both open to doing whatever, and so whatever. But had I thought about, I just had never thought about how that would have to come out first and then pivot, and then do you go from the original angle, or do you have a new angle, or whatever? I don't know. So he takes his care and flies them back, trying to shield my Grail Knights. Not really worried about them. Yeah, there's a flank charge I was worried about. So on his magic phase, he tries to move the chariots into my Pegasus Knights. I've got 3 dispel dice, 1 or 2 scrolls. He rolls, and he rolls a 2. I'm thinking, this is great. I'm just going to roll 1 die, anything but a 1, and he won't get that charge off. he magics the chariots into these guys. I tried to stop that with my other 2 dice and failed. So these guys are just in a world of trouble. So that's where my Pegasus Knights used to be. They got wiped out. I did a wound on the Lich Priest. He did none back. I won combat by outnumber and a wound, so poof poof. That Casket of Souls is going to be off the board at the beginning of his next turn, I believe. So amazingly, the big dudes in the chariots only killed 3 of my Knights of the Realm, broke me, and both of them failed to run me down. So pretty lucky there. That block actually with 6 guys is still looking pretty good. Not beautiful, of course, but pretty good. So on my turn, the Grail Reliquary guys decide they will actually pass a fear test. And so I take them to the front of the chariots and my Knights of the Errant into their rear, deciding to take what I can. That unit being stubborn, I was tempted to turn them, just reform, and park them in front of both those enemy units so they couldn't charge my Knights of the Realm. But really, I just thought that he would do so many wounds that he would just wipe that unit out to a man and then get into the rear of my Knights of the Realm anyway. So, but I think I was assuming that if the 3 big dudes all charged into me, and in hindsight, if I would have parked him between those 2 units, he wouldn't have got all of them in. That may have worked. Oh well. You can see at the top, during his turn, my 2 characters finished the rest of the skellies, so I just did the same tactic again. I know that by charging in, I'm going to win, and those guys, as I whittle them down, are acting as a screen to keep his Tomb Guard away from the action. And then my plan is, assuming that on my turn I'm free to move, I'll just move them behind that house out of harm's way. So I took my character that killed the Casket of Souls, I flew him over, and he's got the Worm Lance, so I laid the template down on top of that Hierophant, just trying to get 1 wound on her, because I couldn't charge her this turn, and I know that she can fly, I can fly, I'm never going to catch up with her. So that was my way of trying to get lucky, and I failed to wound her. So that was kind of a bummer. So this was after my shooting phase. I landed a stone on the big dudes there at the bottom. It veered off a little bit. Had a partial on 2 of my peasants, and it missed on both. But I did a couple wounds on a chariot and did the final 2 wounds on one of the big dudes. So that was kind of nice. Actually, I did 5 wounds, but I'm really the way we played it was right. I'm pretty sure that that's not for the whole unit. Those are up to the maximum wounds of one of them. So at the end of the fighting and through combat res, those chariots are gone, and so it's not as wonderful as I would like it, but it's not as bad as I think it could have been over here. This is weird too. I beat those on his turn. I beat the skeletons, and I don't remember why I charged into this unit. I know that my general is immune to Killing Blow, and so I guess my thinking was he would direct most of his attacks to my general, which is silly because he knows I have the combat res galore on that BSB. So kind of a stupid move. My original plan was just to walk to the other side of the house and make it to where he can't get me. And anyway, it was a lighthearted game, so I was just kind of being goofy and charged those guys in there.